which is, it's about bondage and, slavery and all of, all of those other lower vibrational energies to me. And so
that they feed off of, like this type of entity. We call, like these type of people, say like, for instance, like the Epsteins and the Kiefer and the NXIVM cults that just came out. But then it was the Boys Town cults before this. It was Jerry Sandusky before that. Is the Catholic Church. They feed, if you research pedophilia and pederasty, that's, if it connected back to how they use it in like a, demonic lower vibrational form. It's voodoo. First of all, Aleister Crowley, it's voodoo, and it's harnessing the energy of children. I think they had a cartoon called Monster Inc. Remember Monster Inc?
Yeah, Monster Inc. is it pretty much puts it out there, like
right,
if you
in a cartoon form.
Yeah, and occult means hidden, and you and I have very strong faith. But we're sort of unique in the sense that we don't shy away from the truth, like the reality.
Right.
Like we're very grounded, I think.
Yes.
In that sense, we kind of we're kind of the same in that way. Like we don't turn a blind eye. In other words,
you can't.
Yeah.
When children are being harmed, you can't turn a blind eye.
We're dealing with real monsters, right?
Oh, definitely. And when you look even further, like for instance, if you notice, like from my perspective, like the KKK, they call themselves the Grand Wizards. And with wizards come witches. And a lot of these judges are witches. They practice witches and wizards. Remember, the KKK is part of Freemasonry. Mm-hmm. So if you research, a lot of these judges are part of like these Eastern Stars, part of the Sisterhood. They're part of these like secret society cults that rebrand themselves as academics and rebrand themselves as science, rebrand themselves as like matrimonial professionals. They rewrite themselves as like these honorary type of things, but when you get down to the nitty gritty of what they really are, they're witches.
Yeah, and then they go out and they
witches and wizards.
Yeah, and then they go out and with these labels and they infiltrate churches, religions, races, everything.
Divide and conquer. And conquer. And that's the ultimate goal of God, is to bring us back together again.
Including
to eradicate evil.
Jewish faith. They're infiltrated as well. Who? It's by design that, they're...
What did you say? I cut you off.
I'm saying everything is infiltrated. Everything. The Boy Scouts,
yes.
Catholic religion, Christian religion... they rebrand themselves with these labels, these titles, and they infiltrate every aspect of society.
Well, it's already infiltrated. What is a good thing now? I'm glad. I like Donald Trump. I like Donald Trump for the fact that I think SGT report always says it. If Hillary Clinton would have gotten into office, it would have been a world war. It would have been another civil war.
Yeah, there would have been censorship. We wouldn't be able to be having.
Oh no, it wouldn't have been censorship. It wouldn't have been censorship at all, because like the Bundy boys, people were fed up, and they were gonna start killing these politicians. They were gonna start killing these judges. I was hearing this from law enforcement officers, because I'm part of a lot of different groups and stuff, and I was hearing like they were going to start forming militias, deputizing themselves, and they were going to politicians' homes. Like, yes, like if you try this, we're going to do this, with threats and stuff, So it wasn't going to just be censorship. Like, remember, it's a lot. It's like us. There's a lot of people that don't stand for oppression. Mm-hmm. They take their constitutional rights very seriously. I know in family court, like I was reading something today, I don't do the infighting, but they were saying like an advocate is promoting sovereignty, and a lot of people that she is promoting sovereignty to are going to jail. Well, I know a lot of people who do promote sovereignty, and they don't go to jail, and they put liens on these judges. They put liens on the police officers for doing fraudulent things that they've done to us. They put liens on them. However, just like the Constitution and just like with the sovereignty, nothing is being honored in these family courts. Family court is a extension of Hitler's MK Ultra program, and that's it, and that's all. There's Nazi laws in place. You know, they stole my son, they sex trafficked my son, they abused my son. I'm a registered nurse. Now, you got to remember, the mothers that I deal with are doctors. We're nurses, police officers, social workers, lawyers, teachers.
And you're exposed to this reality. You're exposed to this reality much more than just the lay person is. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So when I wrote the book, A Little Lynched, I was furious to know that there's other mothers that've been in court before me for 10 years, 15 years. I'm trapped in these different types of MK Ultra trauma-based mind control courts. That's all it is. And we have to stop pretending like, oh, it's patriarchy, it's this, it's that. I worked with all the Civil Liberties Union.
It's at every level
and
of society.
They're catching a different type of hell. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, even we're seeing, recently we just saw the Victoria's Secret be exposed. Their secret is out. These are high-level escorts. We're hearing people come out and say, that they are bullied to conform. And the bullying starts in elementary school now. I mean, that's where these kids are being bullied to conform.
Well, a lot of the parents have sold the children. I noticed, and from family court perspective, like 90% of the dads that are raping the children, they could get off if they offer the child up for their family court and CPS MK Ultra programs, which is training them to be a Manchurian race, that master race, or in the case of black people, I feel like they created like a sunken place slave race. And there's different strategies for different races and different families, because if you go
a caste system, kind of like a caste system.
Oh yeah, they call it a caste system, definitely. And the unfortunate thing that this is connected to the opioid epidemic, because a lot of these new children are like, we're not conforming. You could rape us. We're going to cut ourselves. We're going to kill ourselves. We're rather die than to be a part of the system. And that's where the opioid epidemic, I feel, is largely, because then you got to remember, these children were put on drugs as children to conform. I call it Pill Cosby Court. Like, they're drugging and raping children in family court for like the last 30 years, last 25 years. Clinton's came up with all of these different systems to put in place to catch children in every single, like, if you don't get sex trafficked in custody court, you get sex trafficked at the supervised visitation center. If you don't get sex trafficked there, you get sex trafficked at the re-education programs. Like, it is so many. If you don't get sex trafficked there, you get sex trafficked. If you ran away and now you're in child detention, you're in their little concentration camps where they're raping the children. Everywhere they're raping, rape and sodomy is a part of their voodoo.
Oh yeah,
is a part. We call it ritual abuse.
Solomon, the key of Solomon, which is how they insert the demons, right?
Right, sexually transmitted demons, STDs.
Exactly. At the top of the show, Aleah, I was talking about, how the headquarters for Child Protective Services is located in Los Angeles. And we have an epidemic of homelessness there. And there is the corruption there in the family and children court. There are judges that are targeting good families, placing children.
They're witches. They're not judges. Continue.
Yeah, in abusive homes. They're placing the children in the to be sexually abused. MK Ultra. and the families are becoming homeless trying to fight to get their kids back.
And that's part of the Tavistock to destroy America.
And then they're
Tavistock
targeted
200 years ago.
And when they reach out for help online, they're targeted online by the infiltrated movement for human trafficking by gang stalkers.
Right. Definitely. Well, most of the hotlines are fake. It's like they formed a matrix, a web around us. So when you think all of like I said, all of the fake services of MK Ultra and child sex trafficking are in these humanitarian programs, are in these charity programs, are in these philanthropy programs. You know, so when you I was saying, I wanted to work with the suicide hotline, and I was referring people that were coming into my program back in like 08, 09. Remember, I have a non-for-profit organization that I first started in 1996, and then I took a break because I was not getting anywhere, because these children were killing themselves, because these children were being sex trafficked. I had stopped for a few years. Exactly. Then I'm like, something inside of you, when you tell God that, you know, you want to help children, the fire comes back inside of you. And so so back in 2008, I came back on the scene. I stopped from like 2002 to about, I'm not sure about that, but about 2002 to about 2008. I took a break, and then I got started back, and then the same thing, you know, children being raped and harmed, and I'm like, it's trillions of dollars in services. If you go on GuideStar and you look up children advocacy, it's over trillions and trillions of dollars of children's services. How are all these children being harmed? So I started writing a big organization, the Children Advocate this, the Children Advocate that, and the HHS and the humanitarian this. It's like, how are these children being raped soon as they are taken away from their parents for false allegations? How are they being raped? How are they being sodomized? Like Nancy Schaefer, the Senator Nancy Schaefer. She's like, they're creating the storms.
Yeah.
So they're creating the trauma. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, Nazi Germany? And so I started. Something told me, like, I have books on Nazi Germany.
You know, I've been talking about exactly, and I've been talking about how, you know, we have 24 million displaced children on American soil, but we also have children coming
American children.
But we also have children coming in every day across the border that qualify for the very same federal incentives that the American children do in these systems. And I also have been talking about how we have a branch of CPS on every military base that we have globally. And they will contrive they'll contrive where they want to harvest the children, they'll start creating poverty in that region. And then they'll stage a chemical bomb or something, and then they'll come and they'll tell the parents, "Oh, we'll take your children to our base, and we'll keep them clothed and fed and safe until you get situated." And then those parents will never see their children again.
Yes. That's true.
So this is
that's a program that's part of the School of Assassins, the International School of Assassins program, which is put into place by the CIA, which was founded. The father was Hitler. That program is where the deep state basically formed their military to go around the planet and stage these events.
Exactly.
So get these children to create the New World Order Manchurian race. It all goes back to the Manchurian race, a fake race.
These children that survive become influencers, actors, public speakers, politicians, politicians.
They become abusers, right?
Yeah, and abuser themselves.
Which is very demonic.
My guest has a question for you, Michael. He's asking if you could share about your non-for-profit.
Oh, I know. I don't promote myself, right? It's called healfamilies.org. And when I started out, like I was saying, started out years ago, decades ago, helping foster children. And it's healfamilies.org. And my motto is helping, empowering, and advancing lives. And I'm a registered nurse for 24 years. So my purpose on this planet is to just heal and help So when I got put into the family court system, I started taking in a lot of children and